Once upon a time, a great king built a magical kingdom, a realm where timeless stories flourished, shaping the hearts of generations. But as time went on and leadership changed, there came an evil stepmother, clothed in the language of good deeds, but masking a heart of darkness, vain, arrogant, and desperate for validation. But the people resisted her rule, clinging to the traditions that had shaped and filled their hearts, innocent dreams of love, the spirit of kindness, and the meaning found in sacrifice and gratitude. Jealous of the power those values held, the evil queen planned to poison them, not just to destroy them, but to make the people believe they had always been rotten. So she set out to remake the kingdom in her own image, wearing the old stories as a disguise, while stripping them of their integrity and soul. Hollywood is a magical place, a dream factory, and no company epitomised that more than Disney. Famous for bringing our dreams to life, trusted by parents the world over for generations to nurture the burgeoning imaginations of children, just as they did ours. A legacy of wonder and adventure, balanced by danger and meaning, ideals of family, friendship, loyalty and love. Their telling of timeless classics has been peerless for a near century. Until now, when their new vision failed to capture hearts, the fight was taken to the past. If audience wouldn't embrace their new dreams, then the dreams of the past had to be rewritten. In 1937, Walt Disney took the biggest gamble in animation history, the first full-length animated film. Critics called it Disney's folly, convinced no audience would sit through it. But Walt's commitment to his vision was rewarded with a film that not only pioneered the animation industry, but cemented Disney as the king of dreams. A story so powerful it defined the studio's legacy for nearly a century. At its heart, Snow White is a tale of innocence in the face of cruelty. A young girl loses her mother, and when her father remarries, the new queen sees her not as a daughter, but as a rival. Clinging to her fading beauty, the queen grows bitter, consumed by vanity and resentment. A hatred not merely about looks, but about power. Snow White, untouched by jealousy, remains pure. She doesn't scheme or grasp for control, she simply is. And that is the greatest insult of all to a woman who fears irrelevance. So the queen orders Snow White's death, and when the huntsman charged with the task shows mercy, she is cast out into the wild, alone for the first time, with no one to turn to, her fear turning every branch or shadow into an omen of doom. Alone, lost and afraid, Snow White stumbles upon a small cottage in the woods. Cold, tired and hungry, she takes shelter, knowing nothing of its owners. When the 7 dwarfs return, they find not a threat, but a girl with nowhere else to go, and in a moment of kindness, they make a choice, they let her stay. Snow White has no wealth, no power, or the means to repay them. She does the only thing she can. She offers to contribute. She cleans their home, tends to their needs, not because she is lesser, but because she is grateful. She has lost everything, and yet she still finds a way to give. That's what makes this part of the story so powerful. It's about the kindness of strangers, the idea that generosity can come from unexpected places. The dwarfs owe her nothing, yet they take her in. Snow White in turn doesn't demand their protection, she earns it. And now there's the remake. In this version, Snow White doesn't find refuge, she finds people who need taught a lesson. The dwarfs, rather than embodying generosity, become bumbling fools who must learn to take care of themselves. Snow White isn't a girl lost anymore, she's a lecturer, instructing them in basic life skills. It's not that the idea of self-sufficiency is wrong, but this version warps the entire point of the original story. By turning her into a teacher, the remake strips the story of what made it meaningful, replacing humanity with superiority and gratitude with entitlement.
I was thinking the same thing.
What was once a simple exchange of kindness becomes yet another empty lesson in empowerment, missing the irony that Snow White was never meant to teach, she was meant to learn, about trust, generosity, and how to find her place in a world that doesn't owe her anything. And then there's Prince Stalker, or so Rachel Zegler would have you believe. It's not 1937 anymore, and young girls are no longer permitted to dream of simple love. The prince, once a romantic ideal, has been reframed as a problem. Love's first kiss, once a symbol of devotion and longing, is now rewritten as something insidious. But love in its simplest form is not complicated, not at first. Life starts simple, one feeling at a time, pure and undiluted. Then we grow and things get complicated. But bad news has a way of cutting through it all. In the end, when time runs out, it all becomes simple again, and all we want is for the people we love to know it. There will be time for everything else, for the weight of life, for the lessons, for all that comes after. Let kids dream while they can. And for those who still remember, who still carry the echoes of that innocence, who know what it means to wish they could go back, let them have it. It's okay to dream. But the face of the film, Rachel Zegler, now its biggest liability, has made it clear that she is arrogantly standing in judgment of something she doesn't understand. Insisting Snow White won't be saved by the prince, but will instead become the leader she was destined to be, as if needing help is something to be ashamed of. A young woman swept up in Hollywood's latest fads, where suffering is weakness, endurance is oppression, and being saved is an insult. Humourless, she confidently wears her naivety as though it were wisdom. So we get Snow White the girl boss instead. Another predictable rewrite, cramming in the same tired beats Hollywood now mistakes for progress. She doesn't need saving, there's nothing to learn, no struggle, she's just better, because that's the message now. Strong means perfect. Completely ignorant to the fact that perfect means dull. This version of Snow White isn't its own story, or something new. Carving up cultural classics, gouging out any signs of feminine vulnerability and male strength, then stuffing the wounds full of smug girl bosses and testicularly challenged beta males isn't empowerment, it's fraud. There's a reason Snow White resonates with women. Beneath the fairy tale simplicity is a truth rarely spoken. Beauty is power. It can be a weapon and it can be deception. It changes how people see you. It opens doors, but it also makes you a target. Young women benefit from it before they understand its weight, and by the time they do, it's already fading. The Queen isn't just a villain, she's a warning. A woman who built her worth on something that wouldn't last. And when she saw her stepdaughter, young, innocent and effortlessly beautiful, she saw everything she had lost. The mirror didn't just tell her that Snow White was fairer, it told her she was finished. So she wanted Snow White gone. Not just removed, ripped out. A heart in a box. Proof she had destroyed what she envied most. But when that failed, she hid her malice behind kindness. A warm smile, a sweet gesture, an innocent gift. Masking something meant to rot her from the inside out. The poisoned apple is the Queen. The mask, the deception, the betrayal of someone who should have nurtured Snow White. The story isn't just about youth and beauty, it's about what happens when those meant to protect you turn on their own. And that fear runs deep. The fear of being the victim, the fear of becoming the Queen, and the fear that even those who should have seen through it, your own father, could be fooled. That beauty can blind men, make them misjudge character, and invite ruin into their own homes. That's the truth at the heart of Snow White. And if the remake won't face it, it has stripped the story of what makes it matter. Because without that fear, without that truth, what's left?
Isn't it funny? The truth just sounds different.
Hollywood is a magical place, a dream factory. Once it brought our dreams to life, it shaped us, inspired us, made us believe. But these were our dreams, not theirs to twist, gut and feed back to us poisoned. Not theirs to rewrite and resell, pretending the past was broken so they could fix it. We are the dreamers, they are just the caretakers. This isn't progress, it isn't reinvention, it's resentment. Bitterness from people who couldn't create something timeless, so they poison what came before. People who rewrite history because they know they can't win the future. And so Snow White, the film that started it all, becomes the poisoned apple itself. Beautiful on the surface and rotten underneath.
How do you like them apples?
Confusiasm out.